It's 8:30. Good morning. I'm Ian Crouch with Hunter News. 2 Newcastle bus commuters have been given an exclusive ride to their destination after their scheduled service failed to show up. Charlestown MP Jody Harrison says the unusual incident happened on February 23 when a bus failed to arrive at Broadmeadow railway station. An out-of-service bus was used instead to take the pair to their destination at Redhead, and Jody Harrison says it may not be an isolated incident.
I raised in my notice of motion in Parliament that the government needs to come clean on how many times this is happening. How many times are individuals getting a bus basically as a private taxi because their bus hasn't shown up?
Some Hunter rail commuters will be forced to ride backwards on the trip to Sydney once the new intercity trains come into service next year. It's been revealed half the seats on the new double-decker carriages will be fixed and not reversible. Transport officials say reversible seats take up more space and are more difficult to maintain. Shadow Minister for the Hunter, Kate Washington, says it means a very uncomfortable journey for commuters.
Well, it might be more comfortable if you're travelling for 10 minutes, but not when you're sitting for 3 hours from the Hunter. And what we need in the Hunter to maximise our potential here is good connectivity to Sydney. And we also need to be encouraging people to get out of their cars. This government has made a decision which is not going to see either of those goals achieved.
A crackdown on the sale of black market lobsters in the Hunter continues, with fisheries officers seizing 45 of the crustaceans from the kitchens of 2 Newcastle restaurants. A restaurant in the CBD was caught with 16 live and 12 frozen eastern rock lobsters, while another at Adamstown had 17, 2 of which were a prohibited size. The owners face hefty fines and the possibility of a jail sentence. It comes after fisheries officers seized a van belonging to a commercial fisherman containing 40 black market lobsters last month at Mayfield. Negotiations are currently in limbo between Maitland City Council and St Philip's Christian College over plans to build a $60 million school at Aberglasslyn. The school would cater to 1,200 students, with further potential plans to build an early education centre. However, Council is still in the process of reviewing the proposal, and Executive Principal of St Philip's, Graham Irwin, says they're determined to build it to meet demand in the area.
They've got some other options to look at in regard to how that land might be used. For us, it's a perfect site for a new school, and they need to go through their processes. But we're looking at that site or any other site that would be suitable for the development that we're talking about. We'd be looking to develop it over a 15-year period, as we have done with the school up at Cessnock.
A new project in West Wallsend will provide funding for the preservation and enhancement of the suburb's local heritage site. The $100,000 grant will enable residents to create a conservation plan and will support long-term sustainability. Parliamentary Secretary for the Hunter, Scott MacDonald, says there's a lot which needs to be done.
Look, I say, very much delving into the history, but what do they need to do around the streetscape to revitalise it? Some parts of it are looking a little bit tired. What do we need in terms of pedestrian access and mobility? All those sorts of things. So sort of marrying up, I guess, modern requirements with retaining history and local history there. So, we're very pleased to support Lake Macquarie City Council.
Sport for our sponsor, PRD Nationwide East Maitland.
Knights coach Nathan Brown believes the club can't afford to take this weekend's opponents, the Raiders, lightly. Despite Canberra suffering a shock round 1 loss to the Titans, the Raiders still held a 60% possession swing. Brown says the boys will need to limit the Raiders' use of the football.
The Coast had 60% possession and, Canberra scored 5 tries apiece and did drop it over the line as well. So time in possession played a huge part, which it generally does. But I think Canberra would have showed themselves, their coach and their players, that with even possession, what would have happened that day. And I think they'd be thinking, a bit more ball in their hands and what a dangerous side they are.
Superstar Jets marquee Ronnie Vargas makes his long-awaited return to the field this weekend against Wellington. Coach Ernie Merrick believes while he's confident Vargas is fully fit, he's being cautious with the playmaker.
Physically, he's right. It's all about match sharpness, and whenever you come back from an injury, there's always a chance of re-injuring something, and the more we ease him in, the better.
And Ben Simmons has scored yet another triple-double despite going down to Indiana in the NBA. That's sport. I'm Josh Sim.
And the winning numbers in Wednesday Lotto are 17, 31, 9, 4, 36 and 34, and the supplementaries are 5 and 15. 2NURFM News Time, 25 to 9.